Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name, if you don't know me, is Martin. I work as a delivery driver in Devon, working with Just Eat, Uber Eats, Deliveroo, Every, Amazon, and Stuart. So a few weeks ago, I made a video saying, please ask me all your questions about doing your self-employment tax return. I have just done mine. It literally took me 40 minutes. So I've seen quite a lot of people online saying you need to have an accountant, um, which is not necessarily true. It literally took me 40 minutes. It was easy. I know quite a lot of other people that do it as well. You just kind of need to make that leap the first time you do it. I've done, I would say, 6 or 7 of these now. First time you do it, it's going to take you a few hours because you have no idea what you're doing. Um, but I've learned that to use like an app, like a tax app, to be prepared. So I use QuickBooks, which I put all my invoices into throughout the year. Put all my expenses into throughout the year, all my mileage into throughout the year. Um, and then when it comes to the end of the year, it's all there ready. So all I had to do really was go through all the standard questions and then input all the details from what I've earned for the year. So anyway, my plan is I've had a few questions off the back of that video. I think there's probably about 10 or 20 questions. I need to dig through all the videos and find them all. But over the next few days, week maybe, as I'm working, I shall, in quiet periods, pick up a few of the questions and answer them and put them in this video. So hopefully, if you've asked a question, you'll see at some point in this video your question answered to the best of my ability. If I see a question that I can't answer, I'll pop it in here anyway and say, I don't know the answer to that. So the first question I've got is, what is the personal allowance? So a personal allowance is basically how much money you can declare on your tax return or in your employed earnings, how much money you can basically earn before you begin to pay tax. So at the moment it's 12,570. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't declare that when you do your income, your self-employed tax return. You still have to declare everything you've earned, and then at the end of the tax return, the HMRC will work out how much tax you owe, and they will automatically deduct the amount from that £12,750. So the second question is, if you're multi-apping on a daily basis, so using different apps on a daily basis, how do you claim your tax exemption across all the apps? Well, that's pretty simple. Basically, what you do is all of the income that you've earned off of all the apps is all lumped together as one self-employed income. And you just declare that one self-employed income as, so it asks you for a description of what you do. I just put, I'm a delivery driver working with Deliveroo, Uber, Just Eat, etc. And then I put the full amount into the self-employed income box. This one is, I earn 30,000 in an employed job and £300 a week self-employed working as delivery driver on the side. This is something I did for quite a long time. I was doing employed jobs and then DJing on the side. So it's something I've dealt with before. So basically what happens is you pay your PAYE tax throughout the year. Normally what happens is when you tell your employer that you're actually self-employed as well, or I think when you tell the tax office, one of the two, basically, they will probably change you over onto a basic rate tax code, meaning that you will pay more tax throughout the year, which in a way is quite good because it won't leave you a big burden of tax at the end of the year. When it comes to the end of the year, when you do your tax return, it will ask you on the tax return, what have you earned from your employed earnings? So you put that in there, and then what have you earned from your self-employed earnings, and they will work out how much tax is still due. Now, if you go onto a basic rate tax code, obviously you're going to be paying more tax throughout the year, so you won't be left with a massive lump sum at the end of the year. What has actually happened to me before, and it's quite good, it works out as a little savings scheme, is if you're paying too much tax throughout the year, you might be owed a rebate at the end of the year. which happened to me a few times. I've randomly got like an extra grand at the end of the year, which has been fantastic for me because I'm terrible at saving. So yeah, that's what will happen. Let me just do a few calculations and I'll tell you roughly what I think you'll be paying in tax. Just to warn you, this a little bit on the back of a fag packet type calculations. But I've got you down as employed earnings 30 grand, as you said. Self-employed earnings, £300 a week times 52 weeks. I know you'll probably take weeks off, etc. But let's go for the higher end. 15,600. That gives you a total annual income of 45,600. Now, you didn't make it clear whether that's £300 after expenses. Obviously, you can claim back for any fuel or any clothing that you've had to buy. Anything basically that is essential for delivering. So that gives you a total income of 45,600. Take away your allowance, which is £12,750. That gives your taxable income as £32,850. Now, based on 20% tax, you would be paying £6,570. However, you might be over the lower tax threshold, so you might pay some tax at 40%, but it kind of depends on what your expenses are. So I can't give you a full estimate, but I would say that roughly you're going to owe about £6,570. So I should make it clear that that's your tax across your employed job and your self-employed job, because that's the way they work it out. They lump the two together. So when you do your tax return, they'll say this is how much you owed. However, you've obviously would have paid tax throughout the year in your employed job. So your tax bill will only be what is left over. So it'll be your 6,570, let's say. It might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, depending on whether you're over the threshold or not and how much expenses you have, minus whatever tax you've already paid. So if you've already paid, say, 5 grand in tax, the tax bill that you'll be given at the end of the year would only be 1,570. But as I say, it all depends on a few other factors. So this question is regarding the apps sharing our income with the HMRC. To be honest with you, I don't know when this will start happening. I know that they have to, the deadline was like the 1st of January, but I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work, to be honest with you. However, I do know that what they can do, what they've always been able to do, is go to the delivery companies if they feel like there's any fraud in play and ask for your earnings. So although it's a new thing that they're trying to automate it so that to speed things up, to find fraud basically and people cheating the system, they've always been able to, if they suspected it for another reason, like if you were reported as not paying your tax by somebody else, etc., they've always been able to go to these companies and said, has X got an account with you, yes or no? If they have, then can we look through your accounts of what they've earned with you? So I'm not sure when it will start auto pilot working. I can't give you a full answer, if I'm honest with you. So this person's asking, should they sign up for tax? They've only done £300 so far. I'm not 100% sure on the actual rule, but I believe that you can enterprise yourself to up to £1,000 before you have to declare. But I would look into this a bit more yourself rather than just taking this advice up front. Definitely, if you're making over £1,000, you need to declare. And as far as reporting your mileage is concerned, what I do is use my car's odometer. So when I accept my first job, I will set it to 0. And then after I finish my last job of the day, I shall check how many miles I've done. Normally it's sort of like 80 to 100 miles. And then I input that into my QuickBooks. And that automatically will give me a mileage amount at the end of the year. It's really easy, really easy. So yeah, just use your car's odometer and every day reset it and take a note, either
pen and paper, or however you want to do it, of how many miles you've done that day. So again, with this one, if she's earning over £1,000, then she definitely needs to be declaring. She probably will earn over £1,000 in a year, I'm guessing. But yeah, even if she doesn't hit the tax allowance, she still needs to declare. If she doesn't hit 12.5 grand, then she will just have a tax return which basically says she's got 0 to pay. If it's your account and you're letting her use it as a substitute, this is the correct way that substitution works, by the way. It should be somebody that you know, that's been checked, etc. As long as she's got everything in place that she should have in place, that's absolutely fine. If that is the case, then what I would do is I would make her write you an invoice, so you've got proof that the money's going to her, so that the taxman doesn't chase both of you. Hey guys, that's most of the questions that I can find answered that you guys have left. I know a few people did write some questions on Facebook to me, but I cannot find them, unfortunately. I'm really sorry about that. If you still have any other questions, then please pop them, preferably in this video, so I can find them nice and easily. And I say I'm not an accountant, etc., but I have done my self-employed tax return, I want to say, at least 8 times. So, and I worked as an employer and an employee, so I've got some knowledge, and I'm happy to help people. So if there are any other questions, then please let me know. There's a few more from a previous video which I already answered the questions to, so I'm just going to pop those in at the end of this. I'll give them sort of 20 seconds each, so you get a chance to read them. Have a read if you want to. I hope this video has managed to help the people that have asked the questions, at least, and then maybe some other people. If anybody's got any questions about delivering, about insurance, tax, etc., if you're new and you've got loads of questions, then please just pop the questions down below, and then either myself or somebody else that's watched this video will, I'm sure, give you some answers. Until next time, please, if you enjoyed the video, obviously do the whole subscribing and liking thing. Cheers.